So in this video we are going to look at the critical errors on stop signs: one-way stop sign, two-way, three-way and four-way. So the first critical error is when you're approaching the intersection, you are in a wrong lane. So when you stop on a stop sign, you stopped in the wrong lane. So let's look at one example of that. So here we are approaching one-way stop sign. Now see this parked car here, it's pretty close to the stop sign, but you still have to pull back to your side. So if you're turning right, then you still want to go back closer to the curb on the right side, and if you're turning left, then you stay closer to the center of the street. So here we will be turning right, so I'm pulling back to the right side closer to the curb here within 3 feet. Now for whatever reason, if you stop in the middle of the street here or in the left lane, that's gonna be a critical error, and it happens a lot of time in the driving test, especially new drivers, because they don't have a full control over the car when they go for the driving test. They don't pull back to the right side after going around the parked car. They would just like stop in the middle of the lane or in the left lane here, and then it becomes critical error. So you always have to go back to your side in the correct lane. So let's look at another example. Now this time the difference is we are on a one-way street and we are turning left from a one-way street onto a two-way street. So here as we are approaching the intersection, same idea here. See this white car here, it's pretty close to the stop sign, but there is still enough room for me to pull back to the right side. As you can see, there's more than one car length distance, so that means I need to go back to the left lane in the first lane to complete my left turn, because I'm on a one-way street. That's why we see stop sign on both sides and they both are facing me. Now in this example, let's say if I don't pull back into this lane here, if I just stay in the middle lane here and try to turn left from the middle lane, that's gonna be a critical error. So I have to go in the left lane here, make a full stop. Now we are going on a two-way street, so we are going from a one-way street to a two-way street. That means I just imagine a yellow line in the middle of the street here, and I stay on the right side of the yellow line, so closer to the yellow line. We are going to look at one more example of improper lane. So here again we are on a one-way street. Now we are turning from a one-way street to a two-way street. So we are on a one-way, that's why we see signs on both sides, and there's also this black sign indicating we are on one way. Now over here, if I want to go left, then I should be in the left lane. Okay, so if I want to turn left, then I need to stay in the left lane, but if I want to turn right, then I need to stay in the right lane. If I try to turn left from the right lane, that's gonna be a critical error. Or if I try to turn right from the left lane, that's gonna be a critical error as well. So in this example here, we are turning right, so I move over to the right side, made a full stop before the sidewalk, creep up, check on both sides, and if it's clear, then I go. And when I'm turning, I'm staying closer to the curb within 3 feet. We will look at this example one more time, and this time instead of turning right, we are going left. So same thing here, we have stop signs on both sides, one-way street, and since we are turning left this time, we stay in the left lane, made a full stop before the sidewalk, and then we're gonna roll forward, check traffic, and when it's clear, that's when we go. And since we are turning left from a one-way street onto a two-way street, so now we just have to imagine a yellow line in the middle. We cross the yellow line and then go on the right side of the yellow line. The next critical error is you're going too close to the parked cars when you're pulling back to your side. So for example, let's look at this intersection here. Let's say you have a stop sign over here. Now you are approaching from this side, so you're driving, if you're on a wider road, then you drive in the middle of the street, but if you're on a narrow street, then you drive in the left lane. The idea here is that you always want to maintain minimum 3 feet or 1 meter from the parked cars. So at any time, if you're going too close to parked cars, that's gonna be automatic fail. So for example, let's say you're on a narrow street and you're driving in the middle of the street like this. Now that's gonna be automatic fail because you're too close to this parked car. The reason for that is because we don't know, maybe somebody's sitting in this car and they can open up the door anytime. So there has to be minimum door width distance between your car and the parked car. The other automatic fail is very similar to this, pretty much same thing, when you're pulling back to the right side. So let's say maybe over here you were maintaining your distance, so you had a pretty good distance from the parked cars, but when you're pulling back to your side, then you went too close to the parked car here. Okay, it's still gonna be automatic fail because maybe there is a kid in front of this car or anything. We always say, my dear, here we always need to maintain distance from the parked cars. If you're going too close to parked car at any time, that's gonna be a critical error in the driving test. The next critical error is pretty straightforward. You did not stop on the stop sign for whatever reason. Maybe the stop sign was hiding behind a tree or behind a parked car, or maybe you were just not paying attention. For whatever reason, you did not see there is a stop sign coming up and you did not stop on the stop sign. Your examiner asked you to stop there, or if you're in a training car, he stepped on the brake on his side. So anything like that is automatic fail in the driving test. The next automatic fail is rolling stop. So this time you made a stop, but when you stopped, your car was actually still rolling. So they're gonna consider that as a rolling stop, and rolling stops are automatic fails. So when you stop on a stop sign, it has to be a full stop. Now some people, they actually start counting 1, 2, 3. Some people, they like to look at the ground. For example, let's say this one here. So when I'm approaching right now, that you can see, if you look at the ground, the car was still moving. Now it has stopped completely, and now we are moving again. So whatever works for you. If you want to count 1, 2, 3, or some people, they just say like STOP, stop, right? Or you can simply look at the ground, but just make sure you make a full stop. The next critical error is double stop. So we already kind of covered that in the general errors, so it's pretty much same thing here. So you made a full stop before the sidewalk or before the edge of the curb, but then you're rolling forward and then you're making another stop. You're stopping again the second time, and that second stop is unnecessary. See, for example, let's take this one here as an example. So here I'm approaching the intersection. We have a stop sign coming up, so I'm going to make a full stop. Now this stop is good, so I made a full stop here. Now I'm rolling forward, I'm checking traffic. Now I don't, if I don't see anyone coming, I don't stop there. If I stop again, that second stop doesn't make any sense, and that's gonna be a critical error in the driving test. The next critical error is fail to yield to pedestrians or cyclists on the sidewalk. So here we made a full stop. We're gonna check on the sidewalk first. If we see any pedestrian or cyclist here who want to cross, then we let them go because they get the right of way. The next critical error is fail to yield to other traffic. So now after checking on the crosswalk, that's when we roll forward to check on the traffic. And if we don't see any traffic coming, then we are good to go. Then we will proceed without making that second stop. But if we do see a traffic coming, if we see a car coming, then we wait for that car, and because that car gets the right of way. So in this example, now I'm rolling forward, checking traffic, and here I stop again because now I see a car coming. So we're gonna let this car go first, and now the road is clear, and then I complete my turn. The next automatic fail pretty much applies to all the stop signs, and it's hesitation. So let's say you made a full stop on the stop sign, and now you see a car coming, doesn't matter. Let's say, for example, you're turning right, and now you see a car coming from the left side, but the car is too far and you're not going, so that's gonna be hesitation. And hesitation, it depends on the situation. Sometimes it's a general mistake and sometimes it's a critical mistake. For example, let's say you hesitate, and maybe there's traffic behind you and they start honking, then it becomes critical error. So a lot of hesitation is critical error, a little bit hesitation, it's a general mistake. The next critical error we have on the list is you are trying to go when it's not your right of way. So let's take this intersection again, for example. So now I made a full stop, and I'm just gonna roll forward here to check traffic. Now I do see a car coming, and that car is pretty close to me. If I don't wait for that car, that means I'm trying to go before that car. That's gonna be a critical error because it's not my right of way. The stop sign was a one-way stop sign, so that means a cross traffic. See, same thing here. Now this car is waiting for me because it's my right of way here, okay? Because he's moving from a stop sign and I don't have a stop sign. So this critical error that I'm pointing out here is you're trying to go when it's not safe to go, when it's not your right of way. Now the next critical error is pretty much the opposite. The next critical error is you're not going when you should be going, okay? So you're not going when it's your right of way. Now if you look at this example again, as we are approaching to this four-way stop sign, you're gonna see on the left hand side there's also a black car coming. Now I made a full stop before that black car. That means it's my right of way. I get the right of way to go first. Okay, if I wait for that black car, that's gonna be a critical error because I did not take my right of way. Okay. The next critical error is going over the curb at any time. Doesn't matter, you're going left, right. If you go over the curb, that's gonna be a critical error. And the next critical error after that we have is your speed. If you're going too fast or too slow for the conditions without any reason, that's gonna be a critical error. So you always drive according to the road condition, weather condition. So these are almost all the critical errors on the stop signs, the most common ones that I have seen from my experience.